What were you saying about sweaty ears?
Yeah, just going through the phone. I don't have to wear the headphones. I'm
Yeah,
tired of those sweaty ears, man.
yeah, yeah. That's it.
Hey,
That's
everybody.
it.
We are live,
Well,
right?
yeah, we are live, sir. Got my new. Oh, you don't do a real phone. I
Yeah, my
forgot.
Wi-Fi's out, so I can't. What do you got
You
there?
don't upgrade. You don't upgrade iOS. So I'm excited about the new
I stay out of
iOS
that
upgrade
shit show.
today.
I stay out of that
This
shit
is
show, man.
a real technology, a real phone. That,
You know me.
yeah, I know you. Disposable tech. Joe is the king of disposable tech. You should start a tech recycling company, dude, because you could supply half the tech to them.
Yeah, but then there's probably some long-term liability on toxic substances that they're going to come back and haunt my
earth. We don't worry about that. If Trump wins
like those
next time, you won't have to worry about any of that.
Too intensive, it's like you got to do too much stuff.
Yeah,
with hardware.
So markets like sideways again from yesterday. I mean,
which ones, macro or crypto?
Crypto.
That's what I noticed. Some stabilization there around 1620.3 maybe. Going sideways made me feel better. Everybody's obviously waiting on the merge at this point.
The merge. That's tonight.
Is it? What is the countdown?
The last I saw it was like 2 a.m. Let me see where we are. Estimated. Oh, now it's closer to 1 a.m. 12:40. Looks like about 12:40 a.m. at this point.
So I guess if the world ends, we'll at least be sleeping.
Yeah, if Putin unleashes nukes or something. There was a bunch of scuttlebutt on Twitter yesterday about the Russians gearing up and G8 leaders.
Let me close my doors. There's a bunch of lawnmowers going outside.
Ha! Don't you have that shit under control, Joe?
I'm sorry?
Can't you control those people?
Yeah. Push them out beyond the gates.
So, Joe, I have launched a DeFi Lunch Mission DeFi Reddit because I read that the data is really good on engagement and that communities around shows seem to really love being able to have the discussions people can have in there, providing us feedback, providing us guest and project and show ideas. So we're going to give it a shot. So I put the link in yesterday's show notes. I'll put the link in today's show notes, and I'm going to tweet it out. But I've started posting episodes in there, some of the most recent ones, and there's also a wiki function. And so I'm going to start using the wiki function to post up projects that we cover, that kind of thing. But the basic idea is we really want everybody in the community to, come in and add to the conversation. Let's get a place where we can all gather together and discuss things that is easier to navigate and discuss than Discord and Twitter. I love Twitter. Not such a big, I have a love-hate relationship with Discord, but I wanted a place where everyone could be involved, where it's easy to track conversations, where there are threaded discussions. So I'm hoping this works out real well. For those of you listening, it is at r/Mission DeFi. So just r/Mission DeFi, and go in there and join, and feel free to post away, because we want as much info from you guys as we can get. It just makes everything we do better. And we want to kind of create a network here, a community that we can all benefit together from the projects we're working on, the investments we're making, and just grow it all together. So that's it.
Is that I've tackled the problem of not sharing all these great research reports from LinkedIn through Twitter. I'm trying to figure out how to do it direct. I think so far, just like you said, Google Doc link or Google Drive link or something, Dropbox or something like that. Yeah. But could I put these reports on Reddit and then everybody could just get them there themselves?
Yeah. Okay. Let's put them there. And the other thing I'm going to do is see if there's a bot that will let me auto tweet, have our tweets populate in there as well. So Niblet says he couldn't find you on LinkedIn the other day.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Are you LinkedIn.com /in/Joe Cawley?
No, it's changed. It's Pathfinder 305.
That's your path and LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's on the Twitter profile. There's a click through on the website section, which is the LinkedIn click through. I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi's down, so I can't pull it up on my laptop.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, that's it. Pathfinder. Yep. So it's linkedin.com /in/Pathfinder 305, folks. And you should follow him.
305. Yeah, 305.
305.
I'm the one who keeps saying 305.
I just put it in the chat as well.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
So there's aspirational Joe photo. I am a courageous leader of men. And spreadsheets.
You know who took that picture? My daughter.
Nice. She did a good job.
I just threw on a shirt and a jacket and said, okay.
She did a good job.
I don't like the head-on shots because I don't like the facial recognition stuff with, me, I'm a little paranoid about stuff like that. The iris recognition systems. But of course, I'm giving it all the way right here. So it's like,
yeah, so much for that shit, Joe.
And a lot more. So
Fear and Greed Index took a little dip down to 27 from 34, but still we got a higher low over 25 on Monday. So we're holding steady. Look, and I think I listened this morning, part of a Bankless podcast with Justin Drake. He's the guy that coined the term ultrasound money in reference to Ethereum. He went through 15 bad takes on Ethereum, and it was really interesting. I would encourage everybody to give it a listen, because he's kind of one of the top researchers in the Ethereum Foundation and community, knows his shit, and it was just very interesting. The other thing is let me tell me I opened it. I guess I didn't. Let me open up this thread. I'm going to share a thread that I read. If you're not following, hold on, let me get him opened up here. If you're not following, I'm going to open it right now. Bear with me, boys and girls. If you're not following,
is that the epic thread guy that you were talking about?
Yeah, Solomon.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude.
Solomon awesome. Crypto. You better be, because this man, it is not only like he is this highly technical dude that understands kind of all the inner workings of EVM and Ethereum and everything else. It's that he is a master educator. Like, the way he writes makes everything so digestible, and his threads are threads within threads. So you could spend literally hours going through all of the threads he's written that he embeds under each point of the thread. So as an example, the one I read yesterday was actually linked to this one, which he's calling the Ethereum roadmap. And essentially it takes you through everything, all the fundamentals of Ethereum and how it functions and how it works and all the opportunities around it and where it's going in the future, roll-ups, layer 2 solutions, what the goals are, how proof of stake works. But in every thread, there is another thread buried in it with more incredible education that he's done. So I'm going to put this thread in the show notes, because this was an awesome primer of Ethereum and where it's going. And then the threads within this thread will give you so much awesome data and information about how Ethereum functions without you feeling like, you're lost in technical jargon. It's really beautifully done. And he includes a lot of charts, a lot of flow charts to help explain concepts. And just this guy is a must follow. Solomon Crypto, SALOMON Crypto. Fantastic shit.
You know what I liked about it was that it had so much value for someone who knows a lot about crypto and Ethereum, but it also has immense value for people that are listening that are TradeFi types or just coming in and figuring out what's going on here. Institutional guys, go follow this guy and read it, because it'll get you ahead of your peers in the office so fast on what's going on in that space. Yep. Absolutely.
Now what's
his name again?
Solomon Crypto.
Okay.
He's just
like awesome. Solomon Brothers, or like, or is it SA or SO?
SALO, I believe.
MON.
Let me go back to it. Cool. Let me go back to it. Make sure. SALOMON Crypto.
Look what Sean said.
What did he say? Does it?
I put it up.
Yes, it does. That's exactly what it concludes. It's going to zero, so we can all buy it dirt cheap and get fucking wealthy over the next 6 months. Yes, that's what's going to happen. We're all in. We're all in.
Is that the ETH Maxi play?
That's my play. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I've gotten much better over the last several months or years, last couple of years, really, at detaching expectations from
reality.
Detaching these hoped for expectations of what will happen with a given token as it relates to an investment. I have hopes and things I think about related to the technologies of Ethereum and Phantom and whatever, right? And I think I have things I want them to succeed at doing. But for me, as on the investing side of things, I can just disconnect that now and say, look, you know what? I'm not betting on the merge. I'm betting on, at the end of this, is there an opportunity to buy it cheap, right? And that's a good thing to me, because my long-term vision is that Ethereum is going to dominate, and barring like a major technological crash or collapse, that's my feelings about it. So I'm willing to make that bet longer term. And if I can get it cheaper, fuck yeah. So,
well, look, if you're playing, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was kind of trying to put together a list, like my top 10 longs for crypto, the ones that I could just forget about. And obviously, sorry, it's clunky. I'm just going through my phone. Obviously, it's to me, I see Ethereum as being a key piece going forward. So after the event, if there is an opportunity to buy, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah,
because I believe it's around forever. Just like I believe BTC's around I'll say forever. I just think the commercial potential on ETH and everything that's going on, it makes it the practical one. In a lot of ways, the practical platform. BTCs, obviously, we know, and they don't want to do it, but they got to layer on the same type of stuff if they want to be that. Exactly. Now we know they don't want to be that, so I'm not judging.
Well, parts of that community want to be that. Like, you look at Stacks, you look at the DeFi, you look at the other layer 2s, they want to be that. And I will say that there are opportunities to leverage Lightning or other capabilities around Bitcoin, give it the potential to be, what Ethereum is, but that needs to ramp up right now. Thankfully for the Bitcoin folks that would like to see DeFi, projects like Stacks have learned from the lessons of Ethereum and created what they think is a superior model for it. So, I think that there's an opportunity for Bitcoin to have DeFi. And frankly, I want, me, Joe, I always talk about, I want more competition in this space. I want, I want, we are so fucking early, and the numbers are so small right now that, there is plenty of room, plenty of fucking room.
When crypto, particularly Bitcoin and ETH, are sort of really there where they're in that discussion about, asset diversification.
Yeah.
And they weren't. Well, there was and everybody laughed. Well, now people are really going, hey, wait, yeah. So to me, that's tremendous progress. In my mind, though, I kind of see, I'm trying to use some comparisons, but to me, Bitcoin is something like preferred stock or a bond, whereas Ethereum to me is more like common stock. Okay, in a sense, what I mean is it's where the stuff happens.
Right.
But Bitcoin is more like almost like, to me, like, since it underpins everything else, like a governance functioning store of value in a way. Right. I know it doesn't govern everything else, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. I look at it as it has a premium over the others, but I see in all the others the potential to scale in ways and do things that Bitcoin doesn't want to, or isn't suited for or can't do.
Right.
And obviously there's trade-offs. But to me, like you said, I see, look, if you're doing a basket and you're, TradeFi guy and you're, running across, your ETFs and, your core blue chips and, your currency instruments or whatever else you're doing, your diamonds, your gold, your houses, your real estate, this is part of the play too. And they're all part of the play.
Absolutely.
There's another 20 that are just lurking right below those two. For the TradeFi folks who aren't as deep as, a lot of the listeners, that are going to be that in the future, in my mind. I don't, I can make some guesses. BNB is one I would guess at. But there's a few others. But the point is that it's always evolving. And I don't think it has to be one or the other. It's all. I mean, if we're only at what, $1 trillion market cap, and I don't know what is global market cap, is something like, what is it, 600 trillion, 300 trillion? I mean, it's a drop in a bucket so far.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing. We have so much to go. And
think about the stuff we talked about yesterday, the tokenization, $16 trillion by 2030. Okay, tokenized, and the whole thing was a lot more than that too. So, 30 something out there, other areas.
Niblet's throwing out ETH and BTC are available in ETFs that you can hold in tax sheltered vehicles, depending on jurisdiction. Great tax-free long-term hold. I know about those vehicles.
So it functions, think about it, they're functioning like Roth IRAs.
Right.
And, which I know Fidelity allows you, I think you can purchase BTC on Fidelity, but I don't know if you can put it in your IRAs or your Septs and things like that. I'm not sure. I just haven't looked. Somebody else will know that better than I. So you are deferring. I think Roth is one where there's no income taxes on the way out, but you're using post-tax dollars on the way in, I think, right?
Correct. I believe. Yeah.
These.
No. Pre-tax dollars. I thought it was pre-tax dollars in, but maybe you're right.
Well, it's one or the other. I mean, there's a bunch of vehicles and I'm just confusing them, but the idea is to, when you're taking your distributions at the back end, when your retirement years, is to not be paying taxes then.
Right.
So, if you can put, theoretically BTC and ETH purchases would be purchased with after-tax dollars anyhow.
Yeah.
So, I think that you already pay tax on that money. I think there's probably some vehicles where you aren't paying taxes on the way out, or it's deferred or something. I don't know, but that needs to be part of the plan too. Because you can imagine, look, I mean, we're looking at 1, 3, 5 year, 10-year horizons. Think about if you're like having a kid now, and if you were putting BTC in, your kid's 401k or 529 college savings plan or whatever, where you got 20 years to grow that before school. I mean the whole thing in BTC, of course, but time is for the younger folk, time is your ally. So get into these vehicles as best you can. If they're available to you, because that's a great point. There's niblets, right?
Yeah, Roth is post-tax dollars, and Canada has tax-free savings accounts that work similarly, cap on deposits per year.
Well, that's right. I forgot. He's up in BC.
It's so fucking cold there, unfortunately.
It's beautiful though, man.
I know.
British Columbia.
There's I think there's 4 months of the year I could live there.
But I think because it's on the water, I don't know. I think it's sort of like Seattle in the sense that it's
rainy and gray.
What?
Rainy, gray, and cold.
Gray and cold. Yeah, I thought you said Indian grave, and I'm like, that's not the. I don't know if we're supposed to say that word anymore, but yeah, probably.
Just kidding. It is beautiful up there. I was supposed to vacation up there first year of COVID, but that of course went to hell.
Yeah. No, I
sorry to be making fun of your home there, Niblets.
No, we're not. I love that area.
Yeah. So Jump Crypto wrote, with the merge hours away, this is your link, Joe. There are a lot of questions about what exchanges will be doing. Keep in mind the information may change rapidly. Binance suspending deposits and withdrawals September 15th at 030 UTC. So that's, what is that, 7 p.m. Eastern? Is that right? Am I doing that right?
What time?
030 UTC. So that's, I believe, 7:30
5
PM.
plus 3. Yeah, something like that.
7:30 p.m. Eastern. OKEX plans to alert users before the merge when it will suspend. So they're waiting to see when the timing is. FTX is going to offer continuous trading and no halting, or No plan to halt or settle ETH futures prior to the merge. ETH futures and perpetual contracts will track the price of proof of stake Ethereum after the merge. Coinbase is going to suspend ETH ERC20 deposits and withdrawals a few hours before. Shouldn't be any impact to trading. KuCoin plans to suspend deposits and withdrawals September 14th at 15:51 UTC, so 10 p.m. No, 10 a.m. That already did it, right? That's what they already did it? Yeah. Bybit plans to suspend deposits and withdrawals a few hours before the merge. Gate.io plans to suspend at midnight UTC, 7 p.m. Eastern. Kraken states it doesn't guarantee that an ETHW fork would be listed on exchange. It should not be listed on its exchange. And frankly, I don't think any exchange should be listing it, but somebody, a few whores will. So did you see the other day that Coinbase posted a question to the ETH proof of work group about, I think it was a technical question.
Oh, about, don't they know software upgrades break shit? Something like that. Yeah. I mean, it was just like, what? It's the Oracle guy. It was the Oracle guy.
Yeah.
Right?
They couldn't answer any questions. Like they couldn't. And it was supposed to have launched 8 days ago and it still hasn't. So.
Wait, what is this again? Which one?
The proof of work chain, the fork was supposed to launch 8 days ago and it hasn't launched. Niblets, rainy, gray, and cold. That's my personality.
Yeah, I like that.
Listen, I've done a phone call with you, man. That is not.
You don't look that dark to me, dude.
Nah,
I mean, in the sense of dark personality.
Nah,
you look pretty optimistic. You sound that way the way you write.
By the way, he's working on some really cool shit. Niblets is on the tech side. Really cool stuff. I'm
in dialogue with a couple of people about a couple of different projects they're working that are big listeners of the show, and they're all working on really interesting stuff. I mean,
and that's the thing that's the kind of stuff we should be putting in Reddit, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's get a community around helping everybody in the community succeed at what they're building. I know Sean wants to build something. He's also building a mining operation, but he's got another project idea he wants to work on. Let's get all these like-minded technical crypto minds working together. So
yeah.
Anyway, everybody get in there.
Eamon's got some stuff too.
Yeah. Oh, Eamon's got the shit happening.
That is a cool thing, man. I like what he's doing.
I can't wait till we can talk about it.
I know.
Because we'll bring him on as a guest to talk about it. But dude, that's
what I like about it, without saying anything, is that it's just another, what I call diversification of risk. It's just another cool thing that can stabilize treasuries and other kind of Aave type models. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's
We've got
really
a real builders community, man. We have people building in this community. So Grayscale disclosing SEC queries says Cryptos XLM, ZEC, Zcash, Zen may be securities.
It was just funny to me because they basically, they've been getting queries from the SEC or the regulators on, they have those trusts, vaults around specific crypto projects. And so I guess they've been getting pinged over a bunch of these. And the one I really thought about was Stellar, just because everybody kind of knows who Stellar is.
Yeah.
And so I commented, so they're saying to the SEC that these may be securities.
Right.
They're not going, oh yeah, well, these might be securities. They're initiating saying these may be securities.
Yep.
And so I'm like, one, why would you do that? Because you might as well say, well, that tree out in the friggin' lobby might be a security.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're just saying nonsense. So,
well, down here in Florida, palm trees would be a security because people buy and sell and trade them. They resell them out of their yard when they grow to a certain height. So,
oh yeah, and those are expensive. I mean,
palm trees in my front yard are a security.
Yeah, I mean, one of those trees.
I grew it with some other people with the thought of increasing its value.
Yeah. So I guess I just was surprised that they would say that. There was something else in there too that I thought was interesting. But I just commented on Twitter today. I was like, well, tell us why these three are.
Right.
And I think it all comes around the raise. Not that it's how you did the raise. And somebody's pointing out that a lot of these didn't even do fair launches or anything. And there's all these differences. So I just kind of, it's what we always talk about it. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Yeah, let the market know what it can and can't do.
Well, speaking of that, good. Thanks for the
segue.
Yeah. So saw this tweet, Gensler, given that most crypto tokens are securities, many crypto intermediaries, both centralized and decentralized, have to register with the SEC in some capacity. So I opened the speech up. This is a speech to Congress, to the Senate tomorrow. And I was reading along, and, it's him talking about capital markets and the gold standard, how the SEC is the reason that our securities markets are so powerful and strong. It's all because of the SEC. By the way, it has nothing to do with people in tech and anything else. It's the SEC is the reason that we dominate the financial world, because regulations have always grown capitalism. Right.
Well,
so then he gets into the bond markets and the equity markets, blah, blah, blah. And then we get to the crypto markets. Right. And so I'm reading, and the first paragraph is the core principles from the securities laws apply to all corners of the securities markets. Investors and issuers in crypto markets ought to benefit from the same gold standard that has made our capital markets the most liquid and innovative in the world. In my head, do you know what I translated that as? I want to make sure all my fucking buddies at Goldman Sachs control this shit. And so that is my job while I'm in the SEC, is to make sure that my buddies get to control the crypto markets and the bulk of the value in the markets. So I had that in my head. I'm reading along, the same yada, yada, yada. We're trying, everybody should come in and talk to us. We may have to adjust disclosures, bullshit. And then we come to the paragraph about making sure my buddies can get in here and control this shit.
Okay, what's it say? Read it.
I have also asked staff to work with firms that have been operating in other well-regulated markets that want to enter the crypto market. Such traditional financial intermediaries have expressed an interest in providing services to investors in the crypto market, and to do so in compliance with time-tested investor protection rules. Existing crypto security intermediaries need to do so in compliance with investor protection rules as well. All intermediaries in our capital markets deserve to compete and comply on a fair playing field. In other words, I want to make sure all of the people who are not spending hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars every year on regulatory compliance have to. And since most of them won't be able to, I'm going to make sure that my buddies at Goldman Sachs and the banks can control it based on the regulatory frameworks that I'm going to enforce. That's to me, in a nutshell, his entire address to the Senate about crypto. That's all he cares about. I mean, that's the bottom line. Let's make sure my buddies get to control this shit, and this is the path I'm headed down. And it fits perfectly. I mean, if you look at everything he said and everything he's done, and the fact that he wants to be able to find the shit out of people without actually making the rules clear and without adjusting anything, and by telling people to come in to their honeypot and then get fined or charged, it all points to, I want to make sure the banks get to control this because that's my world. So,
yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time divining things and, reading people's minds, but
I'm not reading his mind. He's
I wasn't impugning anything negative towards you. I was just saying, I always try to, was come to a point. I always try to understand the counterparty's motivations. Okay, so what are his motivations? Make money.
The Goldman Sachs executive?
Well, he already was, but I wouldn't just give it to Goldman Sachs. I'd give it to all of them. It's not like
where do you think he's going to work after the SEC?
They don't always go back to Goldman. They go to other places too. Okay,
wait, so but where? I mean,
no, he's going to be in some nexus of traditional FI and a big crypto protocol looking to have its ass saved. That's where he's going to fit. Okay, so that's what I see his motivations as. I think these guys, aside from all the impracticalities and the inefficiencies of it and how frustrating it is for us, I find the rank and file people are motivated to protect those grandmas watching news that get hustled, or people like that don't know. I think that's their motivation at the rank and file level. At the policy level, I mean, you have to assume that they're trying to support, U.S. I don't know, dollar supremacy or U.S. economic platform. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. So it's logical that he would want the ones already, I guess, successfully doing that to get that. But it doesn't mean there's not room for 5 to 6 to 10 big crypto banky type players to come in, FTX, crypto.com types, Coinbases, Aves, it's Curves, Yearns. It doesn't mean any of those won't be those, because remember, they're also serving up the Fed window to these, I guess, crypto firms too. That's the liquidity window. So to me, I think I don't always look at it as anti. I mean, I know it's frustrating as shit. I get it. And everybody's stymied because, like you said, there's no sandbox to go innovate. I mean, even Bahrain's doing a sandbox. So, and we're not. I don't
think it's anti. I think it's, look at all this fucking money we can make.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, you're kind of, I get the feeling that you're sort of representing a constituency in your mind. Well, that's the ones that I guess are going to get disintermediated when the banks take over a lot of this.
Answer this question. How can you continue to have a decentralized finance system if you have to comply with rules and regulations that require middlemen in the infrastructure of the system? Because that's the system that he wants, in my opinion, to have control over crypto and decentralized finance. The system we have today requires intermediaries, requires settlement systems, requires delays. How does that ever work? It can't work.
Well, I think you're acting like it's one big monolithic structure. I can, just as I see like a metaverse world, the sphere with the different chains or universes or whatever in it, I could see both existing. Absolutely.
Well, I don't have any problem with the banking system, traditional finance system existing, and decentralized finance existing. But if you make decentralized finance, as he's threatening, all the intermediaries, all the people involved in the space, if you make them be part of the existing traditional finance regulatory infrastructure around the way trades get settled, around the way finances are handled, around the way you have to be licensed by 2 different ones, around the way you have to disclose in certain timeframes. If you force that mess onto decentralized finance, you can no longer have decentralized finance.
Well, okay, you're missing one big assumption here. And it's that there is money to be made in decentralized finance. So the banks are going to be the ones that don't want to change that. Just because Gensler says something in his speech, that little sentence to create policy and then create law, that's like a 3-year process. So, we're not even closely there. And I just don't think that if I'm the U.S. Treasury or whatever, and I'm thinking about U.S. policy, I don't want to gut it and put it into the same old boring structures that we have. I want to keep it to where it is decentralized in some way, shape, or form. Now,
Janet needs to get on the phone with Gary and let him know, because that's not what he's saying.
But he doesn't have the power to do it. He's just saying shit to Congress.
Yeah, who cares?
I mean, I say shit every day too, and you say shit every day too, but we're not doing it in front of Congress. The thing is that
we're also not regulating the Securities and Exchange.
No, I mean, of course we're not. Well, what's John saying here? Hold on. Crypto is vector. I can't see the rest of it. Is R?
Crypto is a threat to TradFi. The lack of understanding of this tech vector outside of BTC is a fundamental flaw. I'm not sure if he means a fundamental flaw of the tokens projects outside of BTC.
No, I kind of get it. I think, look, again, BTC versus all the rest. Okay. So when I'm talking about, BTC being the pure algorithm, let's say, of proof of work, the pure can't be controlled, let's say, by the government. That's the pure decentralized. Aside from maybe you could do certain things that beyond my pay grade, but that philosophy, I think, is for BTC. And I think for ETH and the rest, DeFi, decentralized finance, whatever, that's where the innovative models are. And I don't see Congress or anybody or tech implementing something that stifles that going forward when the rulemaking comes out. Remember, by then, a couple of years down the road, the crypto lobby groups are going to have 10 times as much money, and they're going to be in there ahead of fossil fuels, TradeFi, and guns and all of that to get their shit in place. So I'm not, just because one guy says something, I think people look at the US and think that we're this top-down organization that, everything runs up to the top and somebody says yes or no. There's no consistent thing there. There's different power centers all over the place, and they're all jockeying at different intersection points to create this output. There is no concerted, consolidated effort to put one person in charge. I mean, we saw that people try to do that, of course, but it just doesn't work in this system. So when someone says something, what would the guy at CFTC, what's his name? Denham? Who's the pro crypto guy that runs CFTC?
I don't remember.
The one who's going to get all the regulation of it. See, Gensler's not even going to be regulating it. So that's why I know you don't like these speeches. I always look at them as just blah, 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 blah.
Well, look, here's the thing. I understand where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with you that ultimately the rulemaking and the laws, we're going to head right into it if we keep this discussion going. We'll be right into fucking dinner. Exactly. And after dinner drinks shortly.
And then we're going to really need a friggin' sponsor to pay for all the food tabs and booze.
I don't disagree with you that ultimately it's up to Congress to write the rules, and that's where the decree is going to come from. My concerns revolve around a couple of things. First of all, he's already stifling innovation, tech, and advancing crypto in the United States based on how he is approaching the way the SEC interacts with the industry. That, to me, is, Sean says DeFi at the bar.
We'll come to Dublin, buddy. We'll come to Dublin for that show.
That, to me, is an impact that's already happening. It was happening before he came, but I think he's making it worse. The second thing is I think he's lobbying here, right? So, he's just throwing it out there. But at the same time, there will be a good chunk of members of Congress who say, oh, well, the SEC guy says we need to do this, so we may need to do this. All my point is I don't think his incentive is about protecting grandmas getting scammed. I don't think that's his incentive. I think his incentive is to give the existing traditional finance system as much control over crypto as possible, and to make it arduous for anyone that's not in that system to comply unless they're a major player like an FTX or Coinbase, et cetera. So I think that's the motivation. And I agree with you that ultimately the rules have to be set, but I think that he can have a massive negative impact in the meantime. And I just was really trying to point out what I think his incentives are.
No, look, dude, I actually agree with 99% of what you're saying. I'm just casting it in a slightly different way. Look, someone who goes to school and I presume gets great grades and goes into investment banking, that's a hard job. It's like, it's a grind it out, 90, 120 hours. You have to have ambition to do that. And and then you're at SEC now with ambition. So this guy has ambition. What does that mean in the end? Probably lots of money. It's not like you said about none of these guys, I think I'm not gonna say the government, but I'm gonna say none of the individuals that come off Wall Street are really that concerned about the less fortunate in society or how it all works. They're really concerned about themselves and their firms.
Yeah.
So I agree with all that, but I think that we have to, remember when he's up speaking to Congress, he's there because he has to. It's a compliance thing. He's reporting. So he's going to say, whatever he thinks advances the ball to keep the CFTC at bay a little bit and hold on to his, little bureaucratic turf.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, if you look at like read some stuff about bureaucratic politics, I think is the topic, you see how all of this stuff kind of works. So I look at all of this as, you know, kabuki in a lot of ways, just they're just saying shit. But you're right. It does cause confusion. But then I was thinking when you said that, I was thinking about the Y Combinator cohort. And I'm like, he's saying that, but Y Combinator and all the people that are there are still launching massive cohorts of crypto companies.
It's true.
So is it really stifling?
Yeah, look, I think
people more organized.
Imagine if Gensler had come in and said, first thing I'm doing is this. I'm revamping the disclosure requirements and I'm setting up a sandbox. And we're going to let you come in, launch shit. Here's the minimal disclosure requirements, have to be on your website. Go to town, boys. Imagine the difference. Imagine the difference. And I do think he's intentionally stifling it. I think his constant push to scare people, his constant threats about crypto and saying everything is a security, and his desire to get people to honeypot into his office and then get fined or charged is what scares. I mean, you could just look at Twitter when the SEC comes up. You know, every project that's tried to deal with the SEC has been fucked over. It's bullshit that they can go in and talk to them. And everybody that tries and gets rebuffed is like, well, okay, I can't do that. Like, I mean, look at the impact alone, just friggin' Coinbase. Coinbase just wanted to do an interest-bearing project, went to the SEC, negotiated with the SEC, and the SEC, instead of saying, hey, let's figure out how to make this work, said, nah, fuck you. You're fined. You're charged if you do this. And that to me is why I think that's his incentive and motivation. So we'll see. We'll see where it all comes out.
Look, you know, we laugh about this a lot. I mean, they're still going after ICOs from 2017. Yeah. You know, what was the one recently? Dragon. But I remember a few like 3 years ago that were settled where people went in, and I'm going to, you know, one of my favorite law firms is, as you know, Hogan Lovells. And I saw some settlements there a couple of years ago were much smaller amounts of money. So I'm going to say, this is what I'm saying to people, is that if you are going to go into the Gary Gensler sandbox to tell them what you've been doing or what you're planning to do, you don't go in alone. Retain a firm. Get a law firm.
Well, here's the problem. Okay, so exactly that. Here's a perfect example. Beanstalk Farms. No ICO, no venture capitalists, 100 tokens launched at the beginning of the algorithm. According to everything he talks about here about stable coins, those guys would have had to spend $2 million to comply. Easily. I mean, easily. Beanstalk Farms would never happen if those guys hadn't been anon. And now they're probably under serious risk from a regulatory perspective for not having done everything that you have to do to negotiate with. But those guys were never going to be able to hire, you know, a top tier SEC firm. There's just no way.
Well, look, I'm going to give you guys a name. If you want a guy who came out of Hogan Lovells, is a partner with the former general counsel of Second Life that did all the bank transmittal license when Second Life was big in 06, 07, 08, that's been in this space, understanding regulation around tokens forever. Lewis Cohen, LEWISCOHEN, DLXY.
Great guy. Fantastic.
This guy, SEC likes him. He's taken in, this is public, he took in Pocketful of Quarters, which was the, a portable token across gaming platforms. They're still out there. They did an STO raise on, one of those crowdfunding platforms, and he took him in there and got a no action letter. I think one of only two so far. I don't know if there's been any in the last couple of years. He goes in with other projects too, and if there's a wrinkle in it, it gets resolved. But he knows what they want to see, and he knows their sensitive issues, and he knows. I think it's hard with Beanstalk. Let's say, a pretty innovative concept, okay, and it's going to take those guys years to figure it out. So and at the same time, if you come in with any name that's cute, these are all like suited up guys and gals. It's like they want to hear CXY, like LTD, a bastion of financial stability. They don't like the cutesy stuff. So it's hard. So you got to go in with the lawyers. And so call Lewis Cohen, Cohen. If you got any issues, SEC, you're going to do a raise. He is my go-to guy. He sometimes listens. So, you're
Sean
welcome.
says, we're trying to take their control of money away. No one gives power away. It has to be taken. Oh, we lost Joe. I guess that pissed him off. You pissed him off, Sean. Joe left because Sean dared speak the truth to power. Shizzy says, Goldman Gary does what Goldman wants. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Shizzy. You're totally right. Absolutely correct. So, all right, let me move on while Joe's not here, and then we can, I guess he lost, maybe his phone. I bet his phone battery died. It's kind of like my daughter. He doesn't plug it in. I'm not sure why Joe wanted to bring this up again. We already talked about the Starbucks integrating into the NFT. Joe posted this one. Bahrain Central Bank selects OpenNode to test crypto payments. And he had actually some notes on this one. So let me see if I can find that, because he said he pulled away some key takeaways from that article. So let me go see if I can find that. Joe's takeaway was, earlier in the year, the Central Bank of Bahrain has granted Binance a Category 4 license as a fully fledged crypto asset service provider, a CASP. The world's largest exchange received the license. Bahrain was the first exchange Binance Bahrain to be granted a Category 4 license. Before that, it was I don't know. I don't know what that is. I guess it's just Binance got a license. So we'll go with that, folks. South Korea has issued an arrest warrant for Do Kwon. I don't think anybody's really surprised about that. I think we all kind of expected it. Sean says we'll buy him a beer. Awesome. That's awesome, dude. Awesome. So I guess Do Kwon's on the run. Of course, when you have a couple of billion, it's a little easier to hide. So I would suspect that he is lawyered up and is somewhere in hiding until he gets probably a deal in place or something else. But it's very interesting that they've decided to go for it and bring him in. So it says there are a total of 5 individuals. They said they were citing a text message from the prosecutor's office. But obviously, Doe's responsible for taking down quite a bit of shit. Oh, there he is. He's back.
I'm going everything through the phone. I guess, your handsome mug moving around on my screen overheated my phone.
That's probably it. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. We moved on because felt like it was a good time with you dropping. But we were afraid maybe you were censored. But I moved on to the Do Kwon piece, there's an arrest warrant out for him. So I think we'll hopefully see some justice served in one way or another. Joe, you there?
I'm breaking up a little bit. That. So, I mean,
breaking up is hard to do.
This is what happens when you lose 40 billion.
That's a perfect summary, Joe.
Yeah, sorry. Somebody's going to find something. And
yeah, here's more on that.
Everybody, I think, has already found everything.
Yeah. I thought this was really interesting. Sam Kazemian, there's a bot that posts the Telegram discussion. Sam Kazemian of Frax replies to all kinds of questions in their Telegram. And there was a question basically saying that, or somebody had tweeted that Frax BP pools and other Frax pools generate no revenue for VECRV. And his answer was interesting to that question, but it was even more interesting for what it tells you about the level of their investment. So he said there's 2 issues with what he's saying. One, we bribe by far the most out of anyone, sometimes comprising almost 50% of all the bribes per period. So think about that. He's basically saying that 50% of the CRV convex bribes are all done by Frax. Like Frax is hardcore owning fucking liquidity and not messing around. He said, we are almost half of the API of the entire CVX token ourselves. We pay big for using the ecosystem. Curve convex yields would drop by half if we didn't. regardless of the bribe revenue. Fraxlend is out now. Give it a few more weeks and bribe cycles. As the amount of debt and collateral assets you can borrow with Frax increases, so will its velocity, volume, and thus its revenue for the Curve Convex ecosystem as leverage plus repayments rise. The final piece of the puzzle just arrived, so let's give it a bit until it's fully in action. Lastly, Frax owns a lot of CVX and a growing amount of VECRV. We're literally part owners of Curve and Convex. In fact, we are the largest DAO owner in the world. We are aligned entirely in terms of long-term economics here and also want to see revenues increased. We are the last entity that would ever want our own CVX or VECRV stack to become worthless. This is as symbiotic of a relationship as you can get. So I thought this was really powerful, not only for answering that question, but talking about the fact about how hardcore Frax and Sam are about the level of their investments in owning their liquidity. And now that they're building their own lending platform and they have their own exchange, that puts them in a position of not only continuing what they're doing there, but building and driving it themselves on their own platform. So just a massive amount. I mean, if you think about 50% of all bribes, that's just such a significant amount. And he's basically saying that yields would drop by half if they pulled out. Of course, you know, if you're Curve and Convex, you might be a little concerned about that level of control, but you know, the fact is that he's playing the game, and I think he's doing a great job of building that up. Joe, you know, we're at the end of the show. We'll talk about this one tomorrow. This is a company that I was listening to an interview about called Zero Hash. They are actually, interestingly enough, the credit card profile, the virtual bank, and the crypto component of many of the major players in the crypto space that are, you know, we take credit cards, we provide some virtual banking services. Almost all of that is provided by Zero Hash. The largest one, MoonPay, is all Zero Hash on the back end. So essentially, there are companies out there printing money that are using this Zero Hash platform to basically become licensed. So they have 2 New York State bit licenses. They have full money transmittal licenses in every state. So they basically provide all the regulatory frameworks as well as credit card processing to buy crypto, as well as custody and crypto for some of the biggest players in the space. And behind it is this company Zero Hash. So very interesting. U.S. Treasury came out and said Americans can go recover their locked-in tornado cash. That wasn't, you know, I mean, you have to go fill out an application, blah, blah, blah. The government will decide whether you get your money back or not. But the interesting thing in this was that they clarified that running the code is not a violation.
Right.
So people are tweeting at GitHub today saying, dude, let the repositories back open because the OFAC has made clear now that it is not a violation to use the code. It is only the actions. They knew they were in trouble with that shit. And they're probably still in, I don't mean in trouble like going to jail in trouble, but they knew they were on shaky legal ground with the way they worded it in the first place. They're still on privacy and freedom of speech grounds, on shaky ground, on saying that, you know, the use of this protocol in that way can be stopped. But good to see them clarify that running the code is not a violation.
No. And there was also another clarification, I think, in that same article that said, look, we are not enforcing this against smaller individuals. Right. So they basically said, like, the people we talked about that get hurt by this, the legitimate uses, they're not going after that. So I think what they're, you know, somebody's sitting there and they're like, these guys, darn North Koreans, let's get them. And they come in, and then, of course, there's a wide swath of collateral damage. And then to their credit, they're trying to fix it. So it doesn't undermine that. But again, you still got to go to the government and explain to them, if you have stuff locked there, where it came from.
Exactly.
So Make sure your house is in order before you do that.
Yeah, and those deposits that you got from people of ETH that have been washed in tornado cash doesn't put you in jeopardy. They've made that clear. So I'm glad they clarified that. Would have been nice if they had done that when they originally scared the shit out of the entire market and caused a crash. But better late than never, I guess.
Well, it's just everybody makes mistakes. I mean, how if you're going to push the envelope like we do, you're going to make mistakes. It's about your intent.
Yeah.
And and usually if you didn't intend to make that mistake, then you're not going to get slammed as hard.
Yeah.
Be a fine or something like that, but at least you're not going to be, looking at time in a small room. So,
yes.
But it is nerve-wracking to think about that. I mean,
of course.
I always wonder, about all the Cryptopia people in that hack that are all trying to get their crypto back.
What the fuck is going on with that bankruptcy?
I don't know. I just didn't participate. Because, look, other people have speculated more nefarious things, like it was taken down to, I guess there was a lot of bad stuff maybe going on. I don't know. But again, you go and give them your name. And if you were, not compliant, you kind of expose yourself a little bit. So
yeah,
I kind of look at it like, I just try to do the right thing, basically, and stay out of everybody's gun sights. So
this is interesting. Cryptopia actually filed for U.S. bankruptcy protection on, why is this dated? Oh, this was in May.
Yeah, I think there was a lot.
I knew they were in New Zealand, but.
Yeah, no, I think there was a lot of institutional money there, actually, because remember, there was really Binance was around, but I hadn't made the full swing. I was all Cryptopia at that point. I was doing Binance too. You're right. I was doing Binance. Because now I'm remembering that. But there weren't any other options.
Right.
Coinbase was around, but
for certain tokens that we were playing with too, there were less options.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and some of them weren't listed on Binance. That was the other thing.
Yep. Absolutely.
But to me, it's like if anything that happened in the past in these areas, if you got burned and stuff, it's just gone. Move on to the next thing. And although if I had a couple B sitting in Tornado Cash or something like that, I'd probably want it. But why would I have a couple B sitting in Tornado Cash?
Exactly.
That would be in the big bank. Sorry.
Yes. All right. Let's wrap it up, Joe.
All right, buddy.
1 o'clock. All right. So I want to remind everybody, please go to r/Mission DeFi and join the conversation. Post, anything you want that's legal. Please, be sure to be respectful of each other. And we look forward to your feedback, ideas, thoughts, discussion points, anything else. I'll create a discussion point just around that whole SEC discussion that Joe and I had, so everybody can weigh in there and tell us your thoughts and opinions on that one. If you're listening on the podcast, come back and join the discussion on Reddit. That's kind of the beauty of it. It's not real time, so anybody can come in and make comments in these threads and take part of the discussion. If you like what we're doing, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It does a huge amount to help us grow. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and click the little bell so you get notified when the next episode comes out. We welcome your feedback, comments, and thoughts in r/Reddit. But if you're feeling shy or private, you can always message me, B05Crypto, on Twitter and Telegram. And we appreciate you guys. We love you. Sean, Niblets, Shizzy. Who else? Anybody else comment today, Joe? That's the group. That's the group. Thanks, guys. We appreciate your participation. We appreciate you helping us out. We love having you on the show. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to what Joe and I have to say. It's appreciated. So that's it for me, Joe.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties on my end today, but we'll hopefully have those fixed up tomorrow.
Yeah. Shizzy, I'll put the Discord link in the show notes. All right, man. Everybody have a great day. Love you guys and appreciate you. Take care, Joe.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you later, Brad. Thanks.